It's so important just for every person, kids, adults alike, to watch it, to view it, to learn the skills so they are able, when they're faced with difficult situations, that they know how to handle them appropriately. We live in a world right now where if you see something that you don't like, there's that automatic defense mechanism that people apply. And instead of sitting back, listening, and actually hearing what somebody with a different opinion is actually saying, instead of listening to respond, I feel like if we teach the kids how to handle these situations more appropriately, they're going to be able to just live a better life and just be a kinder person.
Depression, anxiety, anger, even homicide and suicide in young kids has risen so much. And science has shown that with mindfulness, yoga, meditation, that can really help the healing process and can stop the violence in the world.
It's good that it makes kids more aware to what's going on, and they can see how they can use their voice to help things and see what they can do, because everyone can do something to help.
Too many kids going off the wrong way and just not get on the right track because of some outside influence. I think mindfulness and kindness is something that should be a part of the daily routine, starting from little kids, from daycare to elementary school to middle school to high school, all the way up, so we can know how to work together and be one with each other.
The summit is so important because of all the violence that is out there nowadays. Kids have to grow up really fast, and they're not getting a chance to be kids anymore. So it's so important to show them that they can still be children, and they can learn about peace, and more important, they can carry forward as they grow up. It's a positive thing. It's a positive way of showing them that we can get to a peaceful world.
I like how it unites kids together and how it allows everyone to work together and sort of talk about their emotions, because nowadays it's hard to really talk about that type of thing without sounding dumb or like you're being soft or something like that.
The statistics are really staggering. 1 in 5 children struggle with obesity. 1 in 3 report being bullied in school. And since 2007, the number of suicides in children aged 10 to 14 have doubled. And the science proves that social and emotional learning single-handedly can reverse these trends. And that's why it's so important as parents and educators, not only that we educate our children, but that we educate ourselves.
And once it's embedded in the mind, it becomes part of the child's behavior, and it encompasses everything that they do when they interact with others, even when they're alone. It gives them a sense of peace and enables them to cope with the world.
Mindfulness is inclusive, or if mindfulness is for everybody. It's almost like them asking me if brushing your teeth is for everybody. Of course it is. We brush our teeth because it prevents cavities and gum disease and many other things. In the same way, we practice mindfulness because it's preventative against chronic stress, or stress that happens all of the time, and traumatic experiences and how we deal with them.
Children are exposed to far more violence and anger and all of these different situations because they have so much exposure to media. They need to learn that their voice makes a difference. They need to understand that, you know what, I don't need to wait for an adult to make a difference. I have the ability to make a difference, and no difference is too small.
I think it's important because I think in today's society we need the summit for adults to learn to communicate with children, vice versa. I think that it has a positive impact, and we definitely need to put it out there for everyone, because there are a lot of issues with bullying, and people are not being mindful.
They're not getting it as much at home because of working families, because of the stresses of daily life. And they're not getting it in the schools so much because of the necessity for very busy curricula. That something like the Mindful Kids Summit is very helpful.
The Mindful Kids Peace Summit is so important because it creates a platform for teachers to bring mindfulness into their schools for 5 days, and then it empowers them with tools to continue the conversation after.
It teaches something that the kids don't necessarily get. They are overloaded with all of their academics because we want to make sure that they are doing their very best on our state assessments. But after school, those state assessments are done and the real test begins, which is life. And they have to be able to succeed in life, and teaching them how to be a good person and be grateful and show kindness and overcome obstacles in a positive and healthy way. It's why they need it. We have to incorporate not just the academic side in schools. We need to get back to doing academic and emotional together, because that's what's going to make a well-rounded student.
The way the schools are structured, the teachers have to hit the scores, hit, academically what's required of them, and instead they're taking away from the mental health aspect of our children. And I think that's important, and that's something that we're missing this day and age.
I think it's so important that everyone watches the Mindful Kids Peace Summit, because each day is a different topic talking about really important things like mindfulness, stopping the violence, coping with emotions and stress, and mental health. And those are all things that we can try and change the world with. So hopefully everyone can watch this and we can bring down statistics of kids with depression, anger, anxiety, suicide, and homicide, because there's too much violence in the world. And hopefully with the Mindful Kids Peace Summit and everyone that's helping us with it, we can try and bring it down.
Programs like that need to be implemented in schools, especially when we've seen such an uprise in tragedies go on. Kids want to be heard and feel like they're being listened to, and I think it's really important for programs like this to exist.
It definitely will help. Students need to learn how to interact with one another, and they also need to learn that people are there for them, so that they can reach out and they need help. They know where to go. They know other students who are able to help them. Not just teachers, but students are there to help them as well, to really look into their problems and give them an outlet or someone to speak to.
Part of the reason kids are getting mental illnesses and suicides is honestly because of stress. And I think that stress derives from school and education. So I think we should definitely do something in the education system, maybe try to lower the stress, maybe less competition and more cooperation, or maybe institute programs that could help with our stress and things like that.
I'm so excited to be part of the Mindful Kids Peace Summit. I discovered mindfulness when I was maybe in my early 20s, and from that point on just really wished I'd learned these skills when I was younger, and so I'm so thrilled that this is happening for kids all over the world, and I'm so honored to be a part and can't wait to see you there.
It's really important because kids need to feel like they're being heard. I think it's really important if kids, especially I think kids need to hear other kids have opinions on it. I've noticed that students feel more comfortable with their peers than they do with adults. And I can only say so much, it's like the saying goes, like, you can only lead a camel to water, you can't make them drink it. But when it comes to your friends, you feel so much more comfortable with them. And I think for kids to be able to support each other and tell each other it's gonna be okay, I'm here to listen, and make their voice heard, this program would be really beneficial to them.
I think it's really important to get this message out to kids so that we can hopefully lower the statistics of anxiety and depression and suicide and homicide, which is really high, especially in the last few years with minors under 18. And I just think it's really important to help them to navigate life, because life can get a little bit crazy at times, and they need to know how to be mindful, how to deal with things that pop up in a mindful, loving, compassionate way, not only to themselves, but to the world.
The coolest thing about the Mindful Kids Peace Summit is that wufshanti was founded by a kid, and that this really is the brainchild of the future generations. And I think that's really the coolest part is, my experience as a new mom was learning from my kids how to be mindful, how to be grateful, and it's really fitting that the children are there to teach us.
I think that the Mindful Kids Peace Summit is important because we have to make this a safe place for our kids, and we're trying to make the world a better place.
We have to do something, right? Because the numbers are going up. Kids are hurting, they need something. So if we can provide them skills through a fun, interactive online summit that's available and ongoing, why wouldn't we?